I know self-publishing's not for everyone. Nothing is. But if you've considered self-publishing for even a minute, listen up, because I'm betting I know what's holding you back from exploring it further or getting started. Number one, you think the self-publishing process is a lot harder than it actually is. And number two, you're understandably afraid of doing it, air quote, wrong. So I've created a new free resource for you. It's called the Self-Publishing Starter Kit, and you can get instant access to it by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting publishaprofitablebook.com/self-publishing 101. In this free training, you'll discover the exact 4 steps to focus on and mistakes to avoid so you can publish an incredible book that's indistinguishable in quality from a New York Times bestseller without overthinking, overguessing, or overspending in areas that won't make a difference. Again, visit publishaprofitablebook.com/self-publishing 101 to get instant access. The Damn Book Already podcast. My name is Elizabeth Lyons. I'm a 6-time author and book editor, and I help people write and publish powerful, thought-provoking, wildly entertaining books without any more overthinking, second-guessing, or overwhelm than absolutely necessary. Because let's face it, some overthinking, second-guessing, and overwhelm is going to come with the territory if you're anything like me. I believe that story and shared perspective are 2 of the most potent ways we connect with one another, and that your story, perspective, and insights are destined to become someone else's favorite resource or pastime. For more book writing and publishing tips and solutions, and plenty of free and low-cost resources, visit publishaprofitablebook.com. And for recommendations of fabulous books you've possibly never heard of, book writing inspiration, and the occasional meme so relatable you'll wonder if it was created with you in mind, follow me on Instagram at Elizabeth Lyons Author. Okay, so this week, first of all, hi. I'm going to start a series. It's not going to be a series in the sense that it's going to follow up every week with the next episode. It's just I'm going to keep hitting on different topics, and I'll try to indicate as best I can in the episode title that this is part of the series. But it's basically, I'm going to address a variety of the different components of book publishing that often are they've become common to me because I've been in the space for so long. But what I find is that when I talk to newer authors or new authors or aspiring authors, when we're talking about what they want to do and the benefits of going indie versus traditional, or maybe we're talking about me publishing them through Finphilus Press, different topics come up. And oftentimes folks feel embarrassed, and they don't need to, but they do, to say, I don't even know what that is. I keep hearing that term, but what actually is that? And it's like when I go to the chiropractor and they say, oh, your iliosacral something is out of whack because everything's out of whack. And like I've heard the term iliosacral so many times that I'm 99% sure that it's an actual thing, enough so that I remember it, but I couldn't tell you where it is, what it means, or why it's impacting me. I also don't know in that instance that I need to care, like just put it back where it needs to go. But one of the topics that comes up, or one of the aspects of publishing that comes up that's to me just super commonplace, because again, been in this space for a really long time, that aspiring authors and new authors are wondering, what is that? Why do I need it? What does it do for me? Where do I get it? Is the ISBN. So the first thing we're going to tackle in this series, and we're going to tackle it today in hopefully 20 minutes or less, is the ISBN. What is it? Why is it important? Why do you need one? Where do you get it? All these things. I go into much greater detail on this in Module 4 of Publish a Profitable Book, which is my step-by-step course for self-publishing a top quality book that can sit next to any New York Times or any other bestseller in quality. It's literally the exact steps that I use when I'm publishing my own books or other authors' books. The only difference is that instead of me doing the legwork or a traditional house or a hybrid house doing the legwork for you, you're doing the legwork. But I walk you through all that legwork. And the course is actually about to undergo a name change, which I'll talk about another time. It's going to go from Publish a Profitable Book to Publish the Damn Book Already. Hopefully you can see the branding correlation with the title of this podcast and the title of my most recent book, and what the majority of us are saying to each other and to ourselves all the time. It's either write the damn book already or publish the damn book already. Like, what are we all waiting for? But the ISBN I tackle again in great detail. I think it's module 4 of that course. So if you're already a member of that course, it's module 4. And if you're not, I would love for you to join us. The course is actually 25% off right now with code AUTHOR25 in celebration of the latest upgrade and update and relaunch and renaming and all the things. So let's just get it done already, people. But let's go to the ISBN. So what is the ISBN? It stands for International Standard Book Number. And you can think of it as the UPC code for books, specifically for books. So when you go to the grocery store and you buy your toothpaste, if you buy your toothpaste at the grocery store, and they scan the barcode on the back, that's the UPC code for products. The ISBN is that. It's an identifier, although it's not. The barcode and the number are separate and distinct, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the ISBN is the number that sits atop the barcode that when you scan the barcode, it lets the bookstore know, oh, this is the ISBN that is being purchased. It used to be a 10-digit number. It is now a 13-digit number. I was part of the, I guess, unfortunate crew who had to suffer through this, where for a minute there, we had 10 digits and then we had to convert. So our books had 10-digit and 13-digit ISBNs. But if you're just coming in now, you'll only have a 13-digit ISBN. And the key is international. So it's recognized internationally, whether you have published your book in the US or in Germany or in Sweden or in France. Someone from any country can go into the big database, whether it's Bowker or Bookscan or Ingram or wherever else, and they can put in that 13-digit number and it will pull up your book. The other thing that's important to note that people have questions on is, does the ISBN, do you need a different one to sell in different countries? No, that's why it's great that it's an international standard number. If you are published in the United States with your ISBN, you can also sell in the UK or Australia or Canada. So that's what it is. It's an identifier. The reason it's important is there are a lot of answers to this, but the first thing to know is pretty much every book needs to have one, unless you never intend to sell the book to the public. So if you are just writing a book to give to friends or family members and you don't ever intend to sell it through a third party like Amazon or a bookstore or anywhere else, then you don't need an ISBN if you're doing that. If you only intend to sell direct from your website or at events in the back of the room or whatever, you don't need an ISBN. If you're writing your book for some reason to just give away and you have no intention of ever selling it through a third party, you do not need an ISBN. But that's the minority, right? Most people at least want their book to have the potential to sell to more people. It's important because it identifies more than anything else who the publishing house is. So if a bookstore or if people want to know how to acquire your book, they can log into the big databases and find out who the publisher is and what their contact information is and where they can order the book, where the book is available for purchase. In some places and in some cases, the ISBN is free. So if you live in Canada, you benefit from not only having a great healthcare system, as I understand it, but you have access to free ISBNs. In the United States, which is where I reside, we do not have access to free ISBNs, although some people would have you think that we do. I'm going to get into that in a second. We purchase our ISBNs from our central ISBN agency, which is known as Bowker. So when people say, I'll register you with Bowker, I'll register your ISBNs with Bowker, that's what they're saying, is that they'll go into this. It's weird because Bowker's website is not bowker.com. I mean, it is, but that's not where you register the ISBN. So it's kind of it sounds convoluted. It's totally not. But you need a different ISBN. People will often say, well, how many do I need? I just need one, right? No, you need a different ISBN for every version of your book. So if you have a paperback, that will have its own ISBN. The ebook will have its own ISBN. If you have a hardback, it will have its own ISBN. If you're doing an audiobook, you will actually, for some confusing reason, need two ISBNs for that version. If you have a translation, if down the road someone wants to translate your book or you decide to translate your book into another language, you will need another ISBN for that. If you have a large print book, you will need a different ISBN for that. There are a few reasons why, over the course of a book's life cycle, it would need a new ISBN. If you change your title, if you change publishing houses for some reason, because the ISBN specifically ties a book to a publishing house. If you change more than, I believe it's 20% of your interior content, it is considered a new edition. And so you would need a new ISBN. But there are reasons you don't need a new ISBN. So if you change your cover design, let's say you want to test out different cover designs or you're just sick of yours. I recently, maybe about a year ago, redid my cover design for Enough. So I didn't need a new ISBN to do cover design, a new cover design. You don't need a new ISBN if you change the price. If you notice, oh my gosh, there are some typos in there, some punctuation issues, a grammar issue here or there, and you want to go in and change that and then re-upload your manuscript. If you're indie published, you do not need an ISBN for that. And one of the keys with the ISBN is that once you register it with Bowker, you cannot unregister it. So all that to say, my biggest cautionary tale for authors, indie authors specifically, is make sure that you are completely solid on what your title is going to be before you assign a title to an ISBN. Because if you decide you want to go back and change that title, even by one word, you won't be able to. You will have to get another ISBN or assign a new ISBN, and the first one just kind of becomes dead, like obsolete. I had to do that once with somebody, and it stunk, but we got through it, but it wasn't the best. She was completely sure what the title was going to be until she wasn't. And hey, it happens. So as I mentioned in the beginning, you have the ISBN and then you also have the barcode. One ties to the other. Now, lots of places will try to advertise that they sell barcodes for like $20 or so, including Bowker. When you go out to register your ISBN, they will ask you if you also want to purchase a barcode. And FYI, you don't need to, because there are plenty of places now where you can actually generate a free barcode. The one that I like the most is the Kindlepreneur website, which I will put down in the show notes. It's run by Dave Chesson, who is a wealth of phenomenal resources for indie authors, and it will generate one for you for free. So there's no reason to pay anyone for that. But that comes to the next question, which a lot of people ask, which is, well, hey, why can't I just use, or can I just use a free ISBN from Amazon? Like I've noticed that if I go to try to upload my book to KDP, I can utilize one of their free ISBNs. Now, the answer is, well, mostly no, but there are always exceptions. So I'll tell you again, here's a time when you could maybe think about perhaps using the free ISBN from Amazon. One of the things that's sort of in the fine print about the free ISBNs from Amazon is that once you use an Amazon ISBN, a free one, that is the only place you can sell your book is Amazon. You cannot sell it through, I don't need to come up with the list, I hope, but any other retailer out there, unless you're selling it yourself, unless you're purchasing from Amazon at your author discount and then reselling on your own, you can do that. But you cannot sell anywhere other than Amazon. And it will list your publisher as, they keep changing the verbiage, but it'll say independently published, or sometimes I've never seen it say Amazon. It used to say Create Space when Create Space was a thing, but then Create Space and KDP merged and it's just KDP now. So the most common publisher name I see is independently published. So the only time you would really want to do that is, again, if you have zero intention of selling your book to the public. Maybe you are only going to be selling your book to companies. You are only going to be selling it in the back of the room. You are only going to be taking it to speaking engagements. You only want to sell it to friends and family. That is the only time when I would advise utilizing the free ISBN. And I would even then just ask the what if. Is there any possibility that at any point in time, you might want to sell this outside of the Amazon ecosystem? And if the answer is yes, I really do believe it's worth it to go ahead and acquire your own ISBNs. So free sounds great until you realize that it completely limits you and restricts you to one ecosystem. And yes, Amazon is obviously one of the biggest booksellers in the world, but a lot of people want the opportunity to sell elsewhere, even if it's just one of their local indie bookstores. Also, your ISBN lets you control your metadata. If you're in charge of the ISBN, you're in charge of the metadata, which, yes, we're talking about needles and haystacks here to a degree, but because we're talking about needles and haystacks, let's make those needles as easy to find as possible. So when we're talking about discoverability of a book, it's the metadata, which is the subject, the keywords, the BISAC codes, the name of the author, the name of the publishing house, the book description, all those things that can help, even if only by a small amount, your book be discovered or easily found by someone who's looking to stock it and sell it. And if you use a free ISBN from Amazon, or if you buy an inexpensive one from someone else, they're in charge of the metadata, which probably means they're not entering the metadata. And if someone ever reaches out, I have several authors who have had companies reach out and want to translate their book into another language. And if they're my authors, if they're published by I say my like I own them, and I do not. If they're published by Fin Phyllis Press, then I am the publisher of record. So I am typically the one who gets that email from the publishing house that wants to do the translation rights. Occasionally, they will reach out to the author specifically. But every time I get those emails, I am forwarding them on to my authors and saying, hey, here you go. You wouldn't necessarily have that trust that someone who's just selling, a $20 ISBN or certainly giving you a free ISBN is going to get in touch with you and say, hey, someone wants to talk to you about audiobook rights or film rights or TV rights or translation rights or anything else. So it really keeps the book within your ecosystem for the long term. And you need, even if you don't want to sell to brick and mortar bookstores, you might want your book to be available to be stocked by libraries. And in order for that to happen, it absolutely has to have an ISBN. It doesn't need a unique version for libraries, but whatever version you want to make available to libraries will have to have an ISBN. To be clear, the ISBN has nothing to do with copyright or ownership of the book. So the person who supplies the ISBN, whether it's Bowker, a publishing house, Amazon, whomever, they don't have any right to the book. The copyright is typically owned by the author, and the ISBN simply registers a book to a publishing house. The ISBN is also different from the Library of Congress number, which is now available for indie authors to apply for and get. We recently got one for our author, Chip Valutis, and his book, Talent-Driven Growth. It takes a few weeks. You want to leave some time to get it, but it is available now for indie authors. And that just registers your book with the Library of Congress once you send them a copy of your published book, once it's published. But it's fun because it's free and it's giving indie authors, another way to have the same benefits and the same opportunities that their traditionally published counterparts have had for decades. So there are three things here. There's ISBN, there's copyright, and there's Library of Congress number. While indie publishing is becoming much, much, much more commonplace and people are finding even traditionally published authors are switching over, they're going hybrid as an author, meaning that some of their books are traditionally published, some are indie published. When you use a free ISBN from whether it's Amazon or Ingram Spark or anywhere, even a hybrid publishing house, which is fine, but that is the name of the publishing house that will go on your copyright page. So it's copyright by the author name, but then the book is published by, now we've got the publishing house. So if you're published by happens to be Amazon, and it's not an Amazon imprint because Amazon has become a traditional house at this point and they have imprints, but we're talking about self-publishing through Amazon, or it could be, I think Ingram Sparks is like Indie Pub Publishing or Indie Pub. If you have something like that, Amazon or Indie Pub, it's a dead giveaway that you've self-published, which again, it's becoming more and more common every day, but there's still a stigma associated with it. And most people who are self-publishing are doing their darndest to make their book able to not look like it was self-published. There are so many imprints of divisions of imprints of big houses at this point that even brick and mortar booksellers, especially indie ones, don't always know, that the name of that publishing house is a division of this and that and the other thing. But if you walk in and say, well, the publishing house is me, or the publishing house is Caterpillar's Rule 1, 2, 3, or where is my iliosacral 6, 7, 8, they're going to know immediately that it's self-published, and there's that stigma is still there. So as I said, a lot of people are trying to avoid that because they're going into the publishing process wanting it to be a career or a side career. They want it to be as professional as possible. They don't want it to appear amateur. I hope this has been helpful in clarifying what the hell the ISBN is, whether you need one, where to get one, what it should cost, all those sorts of things. Again, if you'd like more information into the in-depth of exactly where to buy it, how to register it, where to put it, and all of that, it can be found in Module 4 of Publish a Profitable Book / Publish the Damn Book Already. And please let me know what questions you have. What are the terms that you keep hearing about in this space that are confusing to you? And I'll make it part of this series. All right, that is it for today. I will talk to you all again next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, this is your friendly reminder to follow or subscribe, leave a quick review, and share it with someone you know has a great story or message, but isn't sure what to do next. Also, remember to check out publishaprofitablebook.com for book writing resources and tips, and to see all the ways we can work together to get your book out into the world. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk with you again soon.